If you're watching this recording and are interested in a comment or writing a story, please contact Bonna Johnson at Bonna, B-O-N-N-A, at visitmusiccity.com. Again, that's Bonna Johnson, B-O-N-N-A, at visitmusiccity.com. We're going to go ahead and do roll call. LeClaire is here. Mark Hayes. Present. Sherry Franklin. Present. Dr. Brown. Present. Rob Higgins said he was coming, so hopefully he'll get here before we're done. Derek Free. Here. Perfect timing. Neely Glenn. Q Taylor. Present. And Tom Petrillo. Almost a full house. That's great. We have a public comment period. Persons who write their names on the sign-up sheet provided at the meeting will be allowed to comment on matters that are germane to our items on the agenda. To provide comment, you must sign up prior to the beginning of the meeting. Do we have any folks here who want to speak to the commission?
First, we'll call Judson Newbern. If you'd like to do that.
Good morning. Thank you for your time. My name is Judson Newbern, and Ian Rett and I are part of a small volunteer group that met at a Metro budget hearing 3 years ago. We were encouraging funding for Metro planning to undertake a study to understand the impact of large-scale removal of trees on the slopes of the rolling hills that form Nashville's western edge. Funding was approved and the study formally began several months ago. But we're here today in connection to a finding that came out from our research on what other cities are doing to address losing their urban forest. So looking at this map of Davidson County, Nashville, the area on the left in green contains over 100,000 acres. It's composed of the rolling tree-covered hills that bring an often taken for granted beauty to our city. It turns out that this almost continuous forest is the largest urban forest within the boundary of any major city in the world. The hilly terrain is the easternmost tip of Tennessee's western highland rim, one of the 9 major ecoregions of Tennessee, and recognized by the state as having significant ecological value. The portion of this geologic ecoregion within Nashville has been officially named Nashville's Highland Rim Forest, as you can see it. And it contains 4 of Nashville's major parks within the boundaries: Beeman, the northern point, Bells Bend, Warner, and Radnor Lake. Compiling the collective amenities of these parks that total 8,300 acres and offer over 100 miles of trails gives Nashville a strong card to play in the ever-growing ecotourism market. Promoting greener offerings to balance the excitement that already resonates from the downtown, and balancing that to entice families to join a convention-goer and stay longer, explores the city's natural amenities.
That was your first 2 minutes.
Okay.
You guys want to do it together?
Good morning. Thanks for your time and giving us the opportunity to speak to you. People come to Nashville for the good times, the good music, and the good food, but we never talk about our good nature, and we should. We have an incredibly largely unleveraged asset, natural asset, and I want to show you a low-cost, high ROI way to put it on the map and call the world's attention to Nashville. I'm Ian Rett. My career is in marketing, live events, and technology. And what Judson just described received unanimous recognition from Metro Council in October and a joint resolution from the state legislature in January. A globally resonant and significant accolade with virtually no public awareness around it yet. Cities like Chattanooga and Nashville have built major tourism identities around nature access. Nashville has more natural amenity than either of them, but almost no one knows it, and that's the opportunity. So here's the concept. A wayfinding sign in each of the 4 Highland Rim parks reading, "You are in Nashville's Highland Rim Forest, the world's largest urban forest," inviting visitors to post a photo. a web page on visit musiccity.com. 4 signs, 1 web page, a perpetual user-generated content engine about Nashville's outdoors assets, indefinitely creating content. And that's just the seed. This is exactly the kind of initiative that Tennessee State Tourism Department could get behind, and that conversation is ready to be had. Media coverage about the signs itself is a story. Getting NPR to cover the 4 signs in a forest is not hard. And that story says one thing: Nashville has epic nature. 4 signs, 1 webpage, a press release, and a few phone calls, and the world's largest urban forest is open for business.
That concludes your time.
Thank you.
And it is in Wikipedia.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much.
Thank you all so much for your time and all that you do for Nashville.
Hold up the logo.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that information. Nice logo.
That's the one we created. Great. Yes. Joshua did a great job.
Okay, good. Yeah, thank you. A couple of my favorite parks in there. I hope they're all faring well after our ice storm. I've been watching on the news some not so good news, but it looks like lots of volunteers are getting out to help clean it up. All right, well, we're going to close the public comment period. Next, we're going to talk about the minutes from our December 2nd meeting. Those were sent out in advance, and I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, Mark.
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Sibb. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Jeff, how about a financial report?
Thank you. Everyone, I believe, has the report in their packet. 7 months into our fiscal year, we're pleased to report that the financial activities of the CVC are continuing to proceed very much in line with expectations. Hotel tax collections received by Metro continue to be strong. To date, Metro has reported the tax collections only through the month of November, but the total amount received during those first 5 months of the year was just over $67.6 million. The portion of that is dedicated to tourism promotion of $19.6 million is slightly ahead of the prior year total and exceeds the CVC's expense reimbursement requests through the first 6 months of the year. Tax collections for the month of October actually set a new all-time record high for collections in any single month in the city's history. In looking at the January financial summary that you have, you see that the year-to-date total reimbursement requested by the CVC from our Metro contract for this period was just over $20 million. But as you know, the hotel taxes that the city collects don't come directly to the CVC. We're only reimbursed for the actual expenses which are incurred in the promotion of the city. So there's no surplus or profit that comes to the CVC through any Metro sources. So make sure everybody is aware of that. Total revenue received for the period from all sources was almost $27.3 million, including the additional revenue that the CVC obtains from other sources to supplement our Metro contract funding. On the expense side, as mentioned earlier, our promotion activities and their costs are running very much in line with expectations. As you know, there are a multitude of activities represented in the report, and I won't try to cover them in detail. The coming department reports will highlight the major programs we've undertaken, but the key to be aware is that all of it closely follows our 2026 marketing plan. So in summary, total expenses incurred in our tourism promotion activities through the first 7 months of the year were $27.2 million, about 74% of which was funded by our city contract. Financially, the year is proceeding very much as planned, and we're pleased to see the strong results. If anybody has any specific questions, I'd be glad to try to address those.
Great report, thank you. It's nice that we continue to exceed previous years. I don't know how that happens every year, but keep it up. Keep it
A lot of hard work.
Yes, agreed. Any questions from the commission? Very good. Let's see, we would entertain a motion to approve the financial report. Thank you, Sherry. Second? Neely, thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Bruce McGregor, the research report, please.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Today, let's see if it's working. working? Yep, we're good. All right, good. Today I'm going to give you a recap of our latest research looking at the hotel performance for 2025, how we ended up. Next, to look at how January did, as well as the 3 weeks into February. To give you an indication, year to date, so January and what we have in February, demand was up 11.7%. So we're really starting off the year strong. I'll also delve into the lineup of major events that are coming to Music City this year and show the anticipated impact of those events, looking at the forecasts for the hotels and booking pace. And we really have a great year ahead of us. We're planning to welcome 17.8 million visitors this year, and 11.8 million of which are going to be our overnight guests. Here is looking at 2025 hotel performance. You can see here that occupancy was at 67%, slightly down by 0.8%. If you look at the average daily rate, it was down about 1.3%, so we had $199 as the average daily rate for the year. The revenue per available room was at $133, which was down about 2%. The decline in RevPAR is attributed to our increase in supply. For the year, the supply was up 3.4%. That said, room demand was positive. It was up 2.6%. Revenues came in up 1.2%. Looking at the bar chart here, that shows you the demand by month, comparing the 2 years of 25 and 24. For the majority of the months, we saw positive demand growth, with the exceptions of February and April. We were down about 1.5%. April, some of that attributed to the shifts in Easter, in the calendar shift. But we did achieve records in 2025. The most rooms sold ever in a single month was achieved in May, and then we beat that in October by 3%. So the highest that we've achieved in a month for rooms sold is 995,239 rooms. So you see we're getting very close to selling 1 million rooms in a given month. So that was up 4% from the previous October. A real big accomplishment, if you think back to October, we had a lengthy government shutdown, airports were impacted, travel was impacted, and even in that month, we sold more rooms in October than we ever have before. The positive trend continued. If you look at November, we had the best November on record. Demand was up 5.4%. December did really well. That demand was up 7.8%. We had a lot of events going on in December, especially some new events. On December 5th and 6th, we had college basketball games at the arena. Kentucky played Gonzaga, and then the following night, Tennessee played Illinois. Demand in our downtown hotels that weekend was up 8.8%. So to recap 2025, May, June, August, September, October, November, all record months for their specific months. For the year, we hit a record of 10.2 million rooms sold, exceeding 2024 when we had 9.9 million. The previous record was in 2023 when we had just over 10 million rooms sold in the year. So overall, the city hotels are performing well. There's really a good mix of business if you look at leisure and business travelers coming to the city. The challenge for us is to continue to absorb the added supply, which is impacting our rates and occupancy levels. This is the same type of data, but it's zoomed in on downtown hotels. So there's a cluster of 14,500 hotel rooms within a mile radius of Music City Center. We saw annual supply in downtown hotels increase by 4.9%. Demand was somewhat equal to that. Demand was up 5%. So we sold 3.9 million rooms in downtown. $1.08 billion in room revenues was brought in by the downtown hotels. That was a 3.4% increase. That's 53% of the total room revenues for the county. But downtown hotels only represent 33% of the supply. So certainly our demand epicenter is downtown. All 12 months in downtown hotels performed well with positive growth. Strong gains in March, up 9.8%. October, up 5%. A very impressive year for downtown hotels. A good, steady mix of that business, both business and leisure. Short-term rentals, how did they perform throughout the city last year? Very well. Their demand was up 6.9%. In each of the 12 months, they saw positive demand growth for the short-term rentals. It fluctuates given on when hosts activate their given short-term rental units, but there's about 9,500 active units throughout the county. Size, about 29% are large, they're 4-bedroom units. So these short-term rentals yielded $540 million in annual short-term room revenues. That's 21% of the total lodging revenue for the county. So if you combine short-term rentals and hotel rooms revenues, that was $2.6 billion last year.
Bruce?
Yes.
Do you think that, if you go back to the slide,
Yes, ma'am.
that March is attributed to maybe spring break and SEC?
Both, yes. April being that Easter was pushed late last year, I think it was April 20th. So spring break extended, it was a longer spring break. Also, if you look at conventions in town, they had more time because that Easter holiday really impacts the shoulders of Easter, with conventions less likely to host their events during the Easter holiday. But yes.
And I'm sorry, one more question.
Sure.
Was it 95% of the short-term rentals are 4 bedrooms or more? Is that
29.
What you said?
I'm sorry.
29. Thank you. I thought
29%.
29%.
29%.
Okay.
So this is a recap of 2025. We're looking at all the numbers. Tourism economics in 2025 said there was 17.39 million visitors. And a visitor is defined as someone who's traveling from at least 50 miles away from Davidson County. So that was a 2.7% increase. International visitors, we had somewhat of a setback with international visitors. 2024 was our high watermark. We had 420,000 international visitors. Last year we had 364,000, so we're down about 13.4%. Canadian travel across the U.S. was impacted by the boycotts and negative sentiment by Canadians. Over half our international visitors are from Canada. We saw a 22% loss in those visitors. That being said, the airport did very well. Airport passenger volume hit record levels. 25.7 million passengers went through BNA. At the peak during the summer, we had 114 nonstop flights going through BNA. BNA now ranks 29th among the top 50 U.S. airports in international traffic. It saw a 30% increase in the last 10 years with international visitors. Europe remains our largest and fastest growing international region, accounting for 33% of total international passengers are from Europe. BNA now ranks second in European growth. So if you look at overall growth of airports, we're second. This is fueled partly last year by our additional nonstop services from Iceland Air and Aer Lingus, which were introduced last year, opening up flights from Iceland and Ireland. Overall visitor spending for the county was at $11.64 billion, an annual increase of 3.7%. About a quarter of that $11.64 billion is attributed to lodging. Moving into this year, here are the results for January. January was starting off to be a very good month for us. Up until the 24th, demand was up 6.5%. Then that last week of January happened. We had a little bit of a storm. The winter storm came through. Numbers fluctuated for hotels. I'm happy to report the hotel community was very welcoming to our locals who were displaced by the power outages. If you just look at the numbers, demand was up about 21%, but rates were down 16%. So certainly hotels were offering discounts to our locals that were displaced by the winter storms and their power outages and those severely cold temperatures. The weekly average rate during the storm was 156. The peak of the storm, if you look at occupancy levels, it happened on that Tuesday where we saw 79% occupancy throughout the city, and that was the highest occupancy for the month. Overall, we saw kind of an artificial spike in demand. So overall in January, we saw a 10.6% increase in demand year over year, but rates were down 7.6% for the month. Moving past the storm, we go into January, and it's full speed ahead. If you look at the first 21 days of February, very positive results. Demand is up 13.3%, rates up 2.6%. That's pushing up RevPAR up a healthy 3.4% year over year. Saturday, February 24th, Valentine's Day, the hotels did very well. Occupancies on that Saturday in the county was about 86%, in downtown 89%. Also that Saturday, Bridgestone Arena was hosting their Nashville Hoops Showdown, so we had Ohio State playing Virginia on that Saturday at the arena. February just being a really strong month. If you look at the Music City Center, they hosted the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, about 3,500 peak. And then that second week in February, the School Attendance Association was at the Music City Center, about 3,800 peak room nights. And then Safari Club, the following third week of the month, about 18,000 attendees. If you look at Saturday the 21st, so we had the Safari Club in town, and then the artist Billy Strings performed at the arena. He sold out 2 nights. Downtown hotel occupancy on that weekend, the 21st, was at 93%. More events to come. Here's the lineup of major events slated for Nissan Stadium. Last year, when these large concerts came to town, we saw occupancy rates into the 80s, and if conditions were right, exceeding 90% countywide. So this all starts in May with Bruno Mars performing on the 6th, followed by Chris Stapleton, Lainey Wilson on Saturday the 23rd. We have 4 major concert events happening in June. We first start off like we do every year with CMA Fest, which is 4 days, the 4th through the 7th. The lineup was just announced last week. So with that lineup announced, we should start to see a boost in ticket sales and hotel bookings. CMA Fest last year brought in $86 million in visitor spending with over 95,000 attendees coming to downtown. But June's just getting started. We have Ed Sheeran on Saturday the 20th. And then the big concert that's really anticipated, Alan Jackson's finale, where several country stars are performing tribute on that night. And then following that, Post Malone has a concert on Tuesday the 30th. So lots of things happening in June. If we go into August, the Foo Fighters will be performing on August 15th. The Titans have not yet released their home schedule. That's going to come out, I think, in April or May. But there are already football games on the books. Tennessee State has released their home schedule. They're going to be starting on the 29th, the John Merritt Classic. And then on the September 5th, which is Labor Day weekend, Ole Miss will be playing Louisville in their college kickoff. Moving on to major events happening at Bridgestone Arena. This month, the SEC men's basketball tournament will return, the 11th through the 15th, a big demand driver for our downtown hotels. The Music City Rodeo will be 3 nights as it was last year. The headliners announced were Maria Lambert, Charlie Crockett, and John Party. Megan Maroney will be here 2 nights in August. And then as we go into the fall, we'll have the Dove Awards, followed by the Red Clay Strays doing 2 nights in October, the 22nd and the 23rd. And then later on into November, again, we'll have the CMA Awards returning. Here is the latest hotel forecast I have for the year. This just came out in February. There's anticipation that room demand will go up 2.3% this year. Hotel rates for the entire market, so this is the greater Nashville market, will increase by 0.8%. The good news is that we get this forecast quarterly, and the prior quarterly forecast was 1% less in demand. So with all the great activity that the city's been having this fall, we saw a boost in the forecast for this year. Occupancy levels are still even, and that's attributed to hotel supply. It's still going up, so we're continuing to be challenged to absorb the additional supply. But good news if you look at RevPAR, a really good sign that's in the positive. In the last 2 years, it was in the negative. Here is a report from TravelClick. They look at hotel booking pace. So at this moment in time, which I have data from February 25th, how in the next 4 months, how is our booking pace year over year? It's a little bumpy for the next 4 months. March is pacing really strong. It's up 8.3%. April's down about 7%. Partly, we got the shifting of the Easter holiday to contend with. May will likely improve, especially with these grad weekends. We have Tennessee State on May 1st and 2nd, and then a big grad weekend on the 8th and 9th with Belmont and Vanderbilt having their graduations on the same weekend. Also on that weekend, there is an Eagles concert slated at First Bank Stadium that Saturday. So I'm likely to see may numbers improve. June is already looking strong. It's pacing up 21%. Now, again, going back to all those 4 major events, those concerts happen in June, has really helped pacing. When the Alan Jackson concert was announced, we saw a lot of a surge in booking pace at our hotels for that big event. That's all the information I have for today. Happy to entertain any questions, or please let me know if there's other subjects you'd like me to cover for your next commission meeting.
Wow. What is the spike to 52%? Is that the
That is the Alan Jackson concert, which will be on June 30th.
Wow. So I have tickets to Barry Manilow. It didn't seem to have a blip.
I'll look out for that.
It got moved to August 1st, too, so what the heck?
For Alan Jackson, are we seeing 2-3 night stays or 1 night stays?
That is a really good question. I'll have to look and see the shoulder nights if we're seeing a spike as well.
Good question. Any other questions? Wow, it just is amazing how it just seems to get better and better. Let's keep up the good work. Yes, please. All right. Madam President.
Over here. So you can tell from Bruce's report that our market is still very strong. There. How's that? Our market is still very strong. We know with the additional supply with hotels and restaurants that some businesses are not feeling that way. They're feeling some softness, and with all the creative offerings from many attractions and hotels and restaurants, there's a lot more competition. There's a lot more options for people to do. So we encourage everyone to be as creative and offer as many deals and packages as you can, and we're happy to promote those at any time. You heard Bruce talk about a lot of events that we helped coordinate for the winter months to try to drive business, the basketball games that did really well, the FSC football championship that did well at Vanderbilt Stadium, brought in about 18,000 visitors the first week in January, which was good timing. The AU basketball tournament, he did not mention, that is still going on at Municipal. That's a 5-week series that's back for the second time this year. Heather will touch on Dine Nashville that we have going on, and then we also hosted 615 Indie Live, which helped our independent live music venues at a slower time of year, and that was our second year for doing that one. A lot of major conventions, as he mentioned. We also had the She Believes Cup last weekend at Giota's, and then upcoming events that he did not mention. I don't know if you've heard it, but we are hosting the Japanese national team for their training camp for World Cup, which was a big win for us to get that. Our sales team worked really hard on that, and it will bring in a lot of Japanese media, a lot of exposure for us in that market, which is really good for us. And then the big event that he did not mention is July 4th. This year is going to be 2 days. It's around America's 250th, July 3rd and 4th. We're planning on several stages. It'll be a great weekend to bring in a lot of people. It's actually is back-to-back with Alan Jackson weekend. So we have Alan Jackson, and then we have the week of 4th of July and the events on the weekend. So we will be promoting the entire week, weekend to weekend. So hopefully that will drive some room nights for us. Bruce mentioned our hospitality partners and how they stepped up during the winter storm, and I just want to say thank you to everyone that pitched in and helped. We made a lot of phone calls that week to reach out, and everyone just did their part and did what Nashville does and helped each other. And we created a web page. We reached out to hotels. We had about 100 hotels that gave us discounts. We ended up with 16,500 views on that web page for hotel discounts in 12 days. Some hotels, like you said, they were offering good rates. Some were $79, $99. Other hotels donated toiletries and blankets for warming shelters when we reached out needing shampoo and body wash, and they jumped in and helped. STR community stepped up with Airbnb in their partnership with United Way. They provided free housing for 500 families, 901 residents, and 149 pets. during the storm. And VBRO also offered discounts for residents for their properties. The NCVC, we partnered with Jigsaw and we raised money to provide meals at the warming shelters and at neighborhoods for residents that were stranded and could not get out. We ended up serving 4,239 meals to local Nashvillians that needed it during the winter storm. Several restaurants also offer their space as warming space, charging stations, free discounted meals, and just we appreciate everyone that helped. And we just want to say that publicly, that I feel like our industry and our community really stepped up to help their fellow Nashvillians. Quick recap on New Year's. We had 205,000 attendees. It was our 5th consecutive year on CBS with a 5-hour nationally televised show, also streamed on Paramount Plus. Drew 5.3 million viewers on CBS from the prime hour of 11:30 to 12:30, so around midnight. $39 million in estimated direct visitor spending for those that came in. Resulted in a virtual sellout in Davidson County with 30,456 room nights sold. Downtown hotels experienced a 1.2% rise in room demand and a 3% increase in room revenue. And this television production generated about $400 million in advertising. So it's something we could not buy. Excuse me. We also partnered with local partners, Sober Space. We offered again this year with Cumberland Heights. We had, I think, about 300 people in our Sober Space area, which was great. We also partnered with Sexual Assault Center for safe bars and safe bar training for all of our bars at the event. Red Frogs was on site to assist. And Culture City, we had the sensitivity bags that were also there again this year. And then our charity this year was Ronald McDonald House. I want to mention a couple of recent recognitions that Nashville's received. We were named a top destination for the 15th year in a row globally. U.S. News and World Report named us Best Vacations 2026 rankings. Nashville was number 6 for the best place to visit in the U.S. And the National YouGov survey ranked Nashville number 1 most favorably viewed large city in America. So that's something that we can really be proud of. That's all, right?
That's all?
Yep. Sorry.
I'm just
Good
curious,
stuff.
around this table, how many people stayed in a hotel during the ice storm? Several of us. It was not fun. There were more pets than people, I swear. Heather, if you would, our marketing report.
Sure, thank you. As Dina mentioned, January and February are traditionally difficult months for a lot of our partners, for restaurants, music venues, attractions. So we've been hard at work to try to fill January and February. Dine Nashville was in its 5th year this year, and we saw success with 18 collaboration dinners between Nashville chefs, most of which sold out or came close to selling out. And I had a chance to talk to a few chefs who are just very appreciative of the chance to draw some attention at a time that's hard for them. And they love to collaborate. As we know in Nashville, that's something really special that doesn't happen in other cities. So it's fun to draw attention to their creativity too. We also offered specialty items and discounts throughout the city throughout the month of February, and this was all supported, of course, with PR, advertising, including Drive Market radio spots, USA Today digital, Style Blueprint digital, and a meta campaign. We had, on February 7th, 615 Indie Live, as Dina mentioned, our 2nd year celebrating independent music venues and independent artists. This was in partnership with the Music Venue Alliance Nashville. We had over 15 venues featuring 60 Nashville artists of diverse genres of music in one day. So for $20, people could go to as many shows as they could get to throughout town. And it really filled up our music venues and supported those bands and artists as well. We had over 2,000 attendees, with about 20% of those being from out of state. This was supported by a meta advertising campaign in the Drive Markets as well. In addition to that, we had a Winter Rocks campaign running January through February. So we really use this as almost like an umbrella to promote all of the things happening in those months. We promoted, of course, Dine Nashville, 615 Indie Live, Black History Month, but then also just individual happenings as well that were going on throughout town. We collected and promoted 31 special offers for visitors throughout those 2-month periods from restaurants and bars around town, and promoted all of that through paid search, PR, and a meta campaign as well. We really utilized this as a way to promote at a time when business was down, but also is traditionally down, but also just a way to reach that market that maybe thinks they don't, are tight with their budget, that mid-level market that's tight with their budget, to say we do have deals and offers that you can enjoy and come to Nashville. Our PR team has been busy at work. They hosted 2 groups through February, 6 UK journalists, 10 writers from the US and Canada. We have, coming up in March, a group from Australia coming in. And in addition to those groups, we had 13 individual journalists from December through February. So it's a busy time for the PR team.
Awesome. Any questions from the commission? I have one question. When you said there's 2,000 that participated with the 15 venues, is that tickets sold?
Tickets
Yeah.
sold,
Okay.
yes.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
And a portion of those tickets.
Goes to Music Venue Alliance.
Okay. Great.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Adrian with the convention sales.
Morning. Sales team exceeded their goals leading into end of December and are on pace to exceed or meet assigned sales goals by the end of June for the year. Nope. I'm a soft talker. Can you hear me now? Highlights from the last couple of months include a hosted CMP meeting planner breakfast at PCMA in January, where we hosted 250 meeting planners and industry professionals at that event. Multi-platinum Nashville artist Nico Moon performed for the group, and we hosted a VIP reception at American Bus Association, ABA, where we hosted chart-topping hit writers and brothers, Matt and Josh Jenkins, who performed for a group of 40 key clients and local members. Looking ahead, we're hosting roughly 40 travel, trade, and meeting planner clients at the Opry at Carnegie Hall in New York. So getting back to New York, that market, which is a lucrative corporate clientele in that market. And then we're hosting an Atlanta sales blitz for meeting professionals in April and taking 15 members on the road with us for that event. We are actively taking the Titans team, their sales team, with us on these sales blitzes and working with them to book business and events at their new stadium, which has been a great effort on our end between our 2 teams. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. But sales team is in good shape heading into the tail end of the year. Early 27.
All right. Keep up the good work. Marie is not with us today, but Dina's got the report. Thank you.
I'll give her report quickly. We kicked off our second Chart Climbers cohort. As a reminder, Chart Climbers is our minority-owned business program where we help educate 15 different businesses to the hospitality industry, helping them to understand how to benefit and get value out of tourism and our visitors that are coming here. So again, thank you to Amazon for sponsoring that program. We're excited about this year's group. They have some great businesses in there. A couple of things you might have seen in the news. United States Civil Rights Trail was just expanded into Tennessee and 2 sites in Nashville. So we had press conferences. One was at, hold on, let me turn this back, Jefferson Street Sound Museum, and the other was the Museum of Christian and Gospel Music. So they were added to the trail, which is great. And we have placed Marie on the board of directors for the United States Civil Rights Trail. The CVC was just honored with Outstanding Service Award during the Urban League of Middle Tennessee's 58th Annual Equal Opportunity Day. This award is a result of longstanding exemplary work in partnership with the CVC in support of the United Urban League. Nashville will host 3 major multicultural conventions in July this year: Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, the National Bar Association, and the National Urban League Convention. We're engaged with those meeting planners, working really hard to help them attract as many attendees as they can. So we're excited about those.
I drove by the new Gospel Museum, and they have like a barn door that opens, and they have live music right there on the street. I thought that was pretty cool.
door.
Yeah, a barn door, garage door. That's what it is. All right. Any questions? Very good. Andrea, Public Affairs.
Hi, I just have one thing I wanted to share with the group this morning. Safety has always been a key priority for our industry overall, and the CVC, along with several key community partners like the Downtown Partnership, the Chamber, the Greater Nashville Hospitality Association, have a long history of engaging on supporting safety initiatives across the city, especially with the MMPD. And we have, as the CVC, we have been encouraging our businesses within the hospitality industry to, on their own independently, also have relationships with their district precinct commanders, just as we do, and engage and be a more proactive partner. And to that end, we recently had a meeting with the downtown precinct commander, Commander Bearden, and invited hospitality businesses to engage. And he was very helpful to share a lot of the initiatives and programs that they offered. And he shared some really great statistics I thought I would share with the group. He said that crime has been reduced for the last 3 years downtown, and specifically violent offenses have been down 9.3%. Property offenses have been down 4.8%. This is year over year, by the way. And overall crime has been down downtown 5.7%, largely as a result of the strategic downtown entertainment unit and how they've deployed that. But it was very helpful, and we are continuing to encourage our hospitality businesses throughout the city to have those kinds of meetings with all the district precinct commanders in every neighborhood, and we'll be helping to facilitate that. So I just thought I would share that.
That's great. Thank you. I know each precinct has different community outreach and have participated in several around town. So that's great. Thank you for doing that. Any questions? All right. Our next meeting is May 12th. Did I forget something?
Downtown Partnership.
It comes up in a second.
We stopped.
Correct. I'm right here.
I'm sorry.
You're okay.
I'm sorry. I thought you were ending the meeting.
Nope, not yet.
I was like, they came for a reason.
I am not letting them off the hook. You're just fine. So the next meeting for this commission is on May 12th. We always stop here and take a minute. And does anybody have any announcements that they would like to make regarding their business? Any shout outs for these commissioners? Nothing today? All right, very good. We do have something new to report here today, and we do welcome the Downtown Partnership. Let me get through this paragraph to announce this. This concludes our tourism commission business. If you're watching this recording and interested in a comment or writing a story about this next report, please contact Alexis Bell at the Nashville Downtown Partnership. Alexis can be reached at abell, A-B-E-L-L, at nashvilledowntown.com. So starting in 2026, Metro Council passed ordinance BL 2025-846, now reflected in Metro Code as 2.177.070. This ordinance requires the District Management Corporation to report no less than quarterly to this commission on financial sources and uses of all fees, assessment, including funds resulted from management, operation, or other use of Metro public assets, including but not limited to Metro parking garages. The Commission's duty is to hear the report. Our duty is to hear the report, ask any pertinent questions members might have. There is no requirement of action by this Commission related to the report, and the Commission has no additional oversight over the corporation. Again, if you're watching this recording, and are interested in a comment or writing a story about this next report, please reach out to Alexis Bell at the Nashville Downtown Partnership. And again, her email is abell, A-B-E-L-L, at nashvilledowntown.com. And now I will defer to Ben and Tom. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Chair Leclerc. Rhymes, thank you. I have Ben Simpson here with Downtown Partnership. Ben's Chief Operating Officer, and I'm President and CEO. We are here as employees of the Downtown Partnership, reporting, as the Chair said, on the Nashville District Management Corporation. There were also some additional items that were listed in that ordinance that don't relate to Nashville District Management Corporation, but we are reporting on those as well, so it might be a little bit longer. But certainly no past noon or anything. All right, there we go. Downtown, we get a lot of people that are confused on what downtown is and isn't. Like downtown Nissan, which is in Metro Center, like 3 miles away. But it's inside the interstate loop and south of Jefferson. That's the boundary given by the planning department. That's the boundary we go in. It's about 2 square miles. We do the majority of our work within 1 square mile, and we'll show you that in a second. So within that boundary, about 6,000 business owners and property owners, 22,000 residents, 88,000 employees. It serves 2 million regional residents, and as you heard earlier, 17 million and growing on visitorship. So what's going on there? Well, the last 10 years, just under 13 billion in investment. Seems like a huge amount for 10 years, the biggest 10 years growth in Nashville's history. The next 10 years, we're already on target for about 15 billion, which is under construction and planned. So kind of like the you ain't seen nothing yet. We have a very unique landscape downtown. On the weekends, let's just go with the weekdays first. Downtown is the 7th largest city in Tennessee on the weekdays. On the weekends, it's the 3rd largest city in Tennessee, just behind Memphis and, well, the rest of Nashville. Not a lot of people cutting their grass or streaming Netflix downtown on the weekends, so there's a lot of activity that happens throughout the weekend. So, as I said before, that 2 square miles, it's important for all of us, and it generates 12% of the property taxes within Davidson County. Davidson County is over 500 square miles, less than 0.5%, produces 12%, and then about 18% of the retail taxes. The specific areas where we provide services, there won't be a quiz on this, but the blue is the Central Business Improvement District. The yellow is the Gulch Business Improvement District. Both of those existed in 2025, so the numbers that you will hear will be related to those. But for fun, we expanded beginning January 1 of 2026 into the area that is yellow on there. Magically, it equals 640 acres, which is 1 square mile. So 2025 revenue from fees and assessments paid by property owners and business owners. Looking at about $4 million in assessments within the CBID, just under $1 million assessments within the GBID, and then the fees collected within the CBID are just a little bit over $4 million. The assessments are based on property values, and the fees are on certain retail transactions, primarily. Well, I'll tell you what it excludes. How about that? Excludes liquor by the drink. It excludes hotel taxes. It excludes long-term parking, ticket sales, and the one that's always really fun to say is newspaper sales, because the law was written when people bought newspapers. So just a summary of that activity. I have to look at the screen because the numbers are really small in the paper. But you can see that $9 million I mentioned earlier, roughly $9 million in expense related to that, a little bit more in expense than in revenue. And about 35% is on safety, the same with cleaning, economic development, parks, placemaking, strategic development communications, and general and admin. That is a summary of 2025. Those numbers are exact, but not exact because the audit's not finished yet. Something that doesn't relate to 2025 is Winter Storm Fern. You may all remember that before the ice, we had snow, and we worked on the snow. This is the lunch crowd on the Saturday of the snow. So Metro does a great job of cleaning the streets, and then we come in and work on crosswalks and sidewalks. And so we actually stay at hotels downtown to deliver those services because a lot of our folks wouldn't be able to make it in. So they're spread out throughout various hotels. We also heard the bump that we had in hotel activity related to the storm. So we tried to keep it clean and safe for them. Used about 40,000 pounds of ice melt over the storm and have monitored more than 3,000 trees downtown. We've had to address a few, but we'll work with Metro's urban forester and address those later. Safety services within the district. Right now we're at, in 2025, about 25 safety ambassadors. You mostly see them on Segways. We prefer the Segway over a bicycle. Bicycle, when I ride, I'm mostly looking at my front tire, and most everyone else is too. Segway, you're upright. You've got a little bit added vertical, about 8 to 10 inches, and so you can see and see straight ahead. We also use off-duty law enforcement, about 8 folks, so the FTE there. And notable stats, just interactions with hospitality and business contacts. And then we have an outreach team. Our total outreach numbers are higher than, or FTE are higher than this, but we're reporting on what's funded by this. And in 2025, it was 3. Significant focus on connecting and navigating. Obviously, anyone that's been homeless for any considerable period of time has difficulty navigating a lot of things related to lack of resources, and resources can be something as simple as an ID. And so we go through that process on a regular basis, and our navigation goes through detox, sober living, and employment connections. So 25 cleaning staff, total is about 44. They do pressure washing, special projects, operate sweepers. Fun stats there. Well, I think they're fun. The 1.9 million pounds of trash, we converted that to cubic feet. That would fill the AT&T twice, top to bottom. Top to bottom, with a little bit of trash spilling over on both of those fills. We still clean up handbills. People use those in the age of internet, but they do post them, and we take them down. Weeds grow, and we get rid of those too. By the way, a weed is worse than trash. Trash could have been dropped there 10 minutes ago. Weeds had time to germinate and grow. So it's a more of a symbol of being unkept than actual trash. We just think this is a great picture with all the steam going on. Pressure washing starts at 4 a.m. And by the way, our equipment that we use, other than the pressure washers, which we don't do those around hotels or residential buildings, but our equipment is going to be battery powered, keeps the noise down. All of us who've been using that equipment or around neighbors who like to use it. So we do that. Our mileage there, we've been around the earth a time and a half plus on our sweepers, and we've pressure washed from here to Knoxville and back.
In the time frame of a year?
In the time frame of a year, yes. Yeah. We typically in the busier seasons, which Bruce talked about earlier, we'll hit Broadway about every 6 days. Parts of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th are on the same schedule. Others have a slightly less frequent, but it's all designed to take it to that same basic standard of cleanliness. So some equipment that we have out there, about 43 pieces right now. We use gators, trucks, and sweepers on a regular basis, as you guys just heard. And then fun facts, just to give you the background of downtown Nashville. From economic development perspective, we're number one in downtowns across the country. The top 25 cities, they actually ranked 26 because New York got 2. They're actual downtown and midtown both. But we were still number one, and that's economic recovery from residential growth, visitor growth, and employee growth. During those 5 years, we were in the top 5 in all 3. And then PricewaterhouseCoopers and ULI ranked Nashville in the top 10 for 11 years running in emerging trends in real estate. We were number 6 this year. We've been number 1 3 years in a row before that. Retail, if you haven't been to the arcade recently, you haven't been to the arcade. A lot of new things opened up in 2025, 83 to be exact. 70% is local. So contrary to the chain thoughts that you might have as you drive around other parts of the world. On the business side, 88,000 employees. Our office vacancies at 15%. We're the lowest among our peer cities, which we would call the CIA: Charlotte, Indy, Austin, Tampa. We couldn't come up with an acronym with the T in there. But we also compare ourselves to 4 other kind of aspirational cities. Denver, and aspirational in certain ways. Denver, Portland, Seattle, and Midtown Atlanta. And we're ahead of all of those 8 on that. About 20 million square feet of office inventory downtown. We mentioned hotels earlier. We count what's inside the Interstate Loop and south of Jefferson is very close to the 1 mile radius around downtown. 14,000 rooms right now, 922 under construction. Again, this is at the end of the year, so we already know that there's another one under construction. There was a groundbreaking last week, even though ground had been broken prior to the storm. And then a significant number in the rooms in the planning stages. On the residential side of things, we're at end of the year, 22,000 residents. We're at 23,000 right now. 3,000 units under construction or just a shade under. Those residents, they are fond of their pets. We get about a third of our residents have a pet. And so we're just a little bit over 7,000 dogs downtown. Those of you all that have dogs, you know what they do on a regular basis. So that's 14,000. Yes. Thank you. And just to summarize the economic development, 15 cranes downtown. So fairly strong market demand. Yeah. We've been in the 30s. So again, things that are funded by the District Management Corporation funds, the fees and assessments include parks and placemaking. You can see a lot of people exercising in a very small space. Church Street Park, it's about 11,000 square feet. In Church Street Park, we have park hosts on site. We had about 90,000 visitors last year, and I'm 60,000 hospitals. So we basically interact with about 2/3 of the people that come through the park because we have the park host there on a regular basis, and 268 events and hundreds of dog visits every day. In addition to that, Church Street Park, but outside of the scope of this report, we also manage and operate Walk of Fame Park. All of this is in partnership with Metro Parks and Metro Planning, and we do the programming in Riverfront Park. We set up the Arboretum last year, thankfully for us, and as you heard from Judson earlier, we have the trees. But we're a Class 1 Arboretum, 3,000 plus trees downtown. We work with Metro's Urban Forester to identify those. We are also working with the Urban Forester to expand our diversity of tree count downtown. We did lose some individual species of trees in the ice storm, unfortunately. And strategic development and communications, that's all of our work with the neighborhood. A few things, we meet every other month, Downtown Neighbors Association. We do Work Perks 4 times a year. Work Perks happens to be, this March 6th is National Employee Appreciation Day. We started following that and did employee appreciation. Somebody in the office came up with something that was a lot more cool called Work Perks. So oftentimes we have coffee at Work Perks. So also the home tour, April 19th. And this will be, I think, our 22nd or 23rd home tour. We did 2 in 1 year. And then we had to skip a year. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. And you get to see new projects coming online, model units, sales centers without the pressure. It's great. And then our Instagram and Facebook activity, you can see our total followers on those two, just a little over 200,000. And that was up 11% last year. And our engagement, just because of the way we have done things in 2025, changed with a little bit more curated video content. Our engagement went up about 25% in 2025. Frequent communication, we do downtown details by email. I mentioned handbills earlier, which seems to be from another era, but downtown details is by email. Oddly enough, it continues to grow, and so does the readership. So the subscribers grow and the readership grows. It's just a little over 30,000 right now. We update the merchants with a newsletter every month, and then residents as well. And then more, we kind of call these the 3 R's, regular, reliable, and relevant, getting information out to folks on a regular basis. We mentioned the parking fund, or actually, Chair Leclerc mentioned the parking fund. Items that are funded by the operation of Metro parking garages include shuttle support, right-of-way landscaping, and equipment purchases. Shuttles have operated from Nissan Stadium since May of 2022, so we're going on 24 years. We have 3 routes, a public route, a Metro-only route, for Metro employees, and then Beep that operates at night. They all park at Nissan Stadium, take the shuttle in, and to various stops. That's in partnership with Nissan Stadium, operated by the Sports Authority. And the right-of-way landscaping, 3.1 miles on 11 streets, about 54,000 plants last year. Spring planting goes in about 6 weeks, weather dependent. We've been doing that for the last 10 years. You can see the little rock path that's in one of those on the right. It looks kind of cool, and the rocks stay year after year and reduce the number of plants required. So we're trying to be as sensible as possible in getting greenery and color throughout downtown. And equipment purchases that came from the parking fund in 2025, it was a truck and a mower. You wonder who cuts the grass downtown? Well, I can tell you who has the mower. And obviously you saw that we have 43 pieces of equipment. So anytime we can get an additional truck, we take that. So that is our quick report. I hope it was informative. We're happy for questions, comments, feedback, either now or for the next meeting.
Commissioners, any questions? That's quite a report. When did you take over the Walk of Fame Park last year?
That would have been in about October of 4.
Okay.
Sorry.
A noticeable difference, just FYI, in the upkeep of that park and the beauty of that park, and the activation, obviously.
Activation helps. There's a volleyball net out in the spring.
Yeah.
We throw Nerf footballs out. Yeah. People pick them up and want to play catch when they go through, coming to and from. You think the arena, the convention center, the Hall of Fame, the Symphony, and the Hilton, all surrounding the park there.
Yeah, looks great. Thank you for doing that. And obviously, you report on a calendar year where the CBC is on a fiscal year, correct?
Yep, we are calendar.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, good. Good to know. Any questions from anyone? All right. Well, thank you for that report. I think that was very interesting and informative. And I think that ends our meeting officially. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Rob. Second? Second. Thank you. All in favor? Have a marvelous rest of the day. See you in May.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.